To me, it was just, at the time, it just seemed like another job that had to be done, We worked in there for 2 winters. The last rock that had to come out of there left it in the ramp so that we could get the machine out. My name is George Jackett. I'm 86 years old and I dug the Fenelon lock out. I was born on May 2nd, 1936. I've lived in Fenelon my entire life. I've worked for over 71 years and I've recorded well over 100,000 hours of vibrating booms and backhoes and graders and bulldozers.
Dad has the strongest work ethic of anyone I know. Work was recreation. It wasn't work. You drive to work in the morning and it'd be cold out, and Dad would roll the window down because he didn't want us to get a sweat on when it was going to work because it would be cold all day, right? Dad is definitely a seat-of-the-pants engineer. Like, Dad will look at a set of engineering drawings and he can point out where they didn't get it practically right. At the age of 86, my dad can still operate a piece of equipment, a front end loader, better than 99% of the people I know. I honestly don't know someone that's more careful or smoother to put a bucket load of gravel in the back of a dump truck.
I was in 10th grade. My dad took me out of school and worked full-time for the construction company. Carried the camera with me every day when I went to work, and I enjoyed taking photographs because they're a historical item.
Dad would call me over to go grab the camera behind his seat. It'd be a big day. They'd be putting the concrete docks in at Port 32 or something like that, and there'd be cranes, there'd be all sorts of things. It seemed like things to do, and I didn't want to take the pictures. Like, I really,
Fenelon Lock 34 is one of 45 locks that make up the Trans-Severn Waterway. The lock was built in 1882, was rebuilt in 1963. It was very similar to what we have here now, except that there was 3 gates instead of just the 1 lift. The way it was in 1961, they had to swing the bridge to let most of the boats through because there wasn't enough clearance underneath the bridge to let the boats go up into Cameron Lake. It was 63 years ago that I dug out the Fenelon lock. We started the job in the fall of 1961. We worked in there for 2 winters. We worked our way in from the Sturgeon Lake side. You had the water drained out, and they had the rock blasted out to the shape that they wanted, how wide it was, how long it was, how deep it was, and then you cleaned it up, loaded it out. See, on the Cameron Lake lower level, they wanted 7 or 8 feet of water to float the boats in. That's the level we had to have it down to, 7 or 8 feet below the Cameron Lake level. Well, the difference between there and Sturgeon Lake was approximately 30 feet. And you had to take it out to a certain width and a certain depth so that they could get the lock gates set in there and have them all working right. And Garnet Harrison was running the coring 305, loading the rock out of the bottom of the hole into the trucks that were hauling it out. And I was working on the quick wave machine, the rubber-tired machine.
It's kind of like, how many sidewalk supervisors did you have today? There was a lot of people took quite an interest in what they were doing. But their big question was, well, how were they going to get the machine out of there when they were finished?
I would say to get the machine out of there when they got the hole all dug out. The hole was about 40 feet deep, so we had to get from the bottom out of there. We came up a couple of timbers to get it crawled out of there. We sat on top to dig the last little bit out of the bottom where we made the ramp to get out. The last rock that had to come out of there, we left it in the ramp so that we could get the machine out. And then we had to load that stuff out of there after we got the machine sitting up on top. And when that job was finished, there was another job to go to the very next day.
He'll say about how he remembers when he loaded the trucks with the horses, pulling a plow. And then they went to the tractor with a plow. That was the technology of his time, to go from the quick way that dug the locks with cables where a bucket just dangled around to a solid hydraulic excavator. We've spent a lot of our life trying to make our dad proud, and I think my dad spent a lot of his life trying to make his dad proud. He was raised by a wolf, and he's done right. You know. Part of the legacy, I guess.
I went to university, learned a lot of things. 90% of what gets me through life is what I learned from my dad.